The Financial Times and the Wall Street Journal started calling my plan not initially as a compliment, Bidenomics. But guess what, folks? They're talking about it differently now. It's working. It's working. I'm serious.
Hey there, guys. Welcome to the channel. So I want to talk about the economy. Let me know in the comments what you think and what you believe. Is Bidenomics working?
I've worked as a bartender in the 10 plus years that I've been a bartender. She mentioned something about COVID money. I don't really see it being that such. I think it's, I don't know. I don't know if we had too many full moons this year or what, but this has been, my God, the worst summer. It's, even if I do have a great day or a great night, it's just tipping and it's people and it's just, ugh! I felt this to my core.
Can anyone else in the service industry please tell me what the is going on this summer? Like, are people out of their COVID money? What is the deal? Because this is the least amount of money I have made in a very long time. And I don't understand. Like, are people less giving? Like, my customer service personality has not changed. I'm just a little jokester. And you're so nice to these people and the tips come back and it's like 10%, 9%. It's like, what's going on? What's going on?
Attitudes around about the economy. His approval rating drops to 37% on his handling of the economy and even lower to 30% for his handling of inflation.
Remember, Mr. Biden inherited a 6.5% growth rate with roughly 1.5% inflation from his predecessor, Donald Trump. Essentially, Biden's big government socialism has turned a booming economy into a bust.
So if we're just looking just by the numbers, man, in the 30 months before the whole COVID situation, there were 4.9 million jobs created during Trump's tenure compared to Biden's 2.1 million new jobs created. Now, they're going to lie to you about the COVID numbers, you know, the jobs that came back, things like that, but just jobs created. Now, when you're talking about family incomes, families saw an increase of about $6,400 under Trump, which is big in 30 months. Under Biden, in that same amount of time, we've lost $4,000. What about gas? You know, we got cars that drink gas. You know, that used to be around $1.87. But under Biden, if we're lucky, it's $4. You know, and that's just one price. You know, other prices, you know, what about housing? Mortgage rates under Trump were about 2.65%. But under Biden, we're seeing them skyrocket. They're 7%. And man, I mean, with these rates, it's wild. It's like a dream even trying to get a house. And the weird part about that, housing prices are still way up super high, even with these insane rates, which honestly, that's one thing I can't figure out. But that can't possibly end well. You know, this may be the thing, a new thing. You know, this may be the moment where our economy transitions into basically two-class, where we transition to a two-class country. And what about inflation? So under Trump, it stayed below 2%, hovering about 1.9. And under Biden, literal records. And the cherry on top of that, so regulatory costs per household were reduced by $11,000 under Trump. They've gone back up $10,000 under Joe Biden. Now, these aren't just numbers on a page. So people are actually feeling these numbers in their pockets. You know, that's probably why there's this buzz on social media and with folks discussing, you know, real people discussing the state of the economy. And, you know, people don't feel wealthier or better off. You know, even the wealthy and the better off, they don't feel like it. You know, regardless of what the media tells you, whatever the government tells you, whatever the administration is pushing, you know, and speaking of opinions, you know, I saw this on Joe Rogan. And I think he's a pretty good example of what an independent voter looks like and what an independent voter must be feeling. You know, he's just pointing out that things seem to be smoother economically under Trump than they are now under Biden. And this is worth a watch for sure. But before we do, guys, thanks to everyone who's been subscribing and leaving such great comments. Really, really appreciate the support. And if you haven't already, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. It's a small click for you, but it really, really helps us out with the algorithm, and we appreciate it.
No one is going to run against Trump in the Republican side and win, because you're not going to get the Trump supporters. They are all in on Trump, unless he has a stroke, unless something happens that's horrible. They're all in on Trump. If you run against Trump, you're
Yeah.
now the enemy of Trump. If I was friends with DeSantis, I'd be like, don't do it. You can't beat that guy. You just can't. When that guy gets out there and he's waving to people and they're going crazy, you're not beating that. There's a fucking, and the fact that he was the president for 4 years and the country was in a great economic situation,
Yeah.
and it looked like his policies were actually effective, and that it looked like the unemployment was down, all business was building, regulations were being relaxed, more things were getting done. You know, when you look at it from a policy perspective, if you just look at it on paper, what he did was effective. A lot of people think it was effective. You don't like him as a personality, so you ignore that. Don't do that. Look at it in terms of a policy perspective. People liked the ideas that he was putting forward. And now you're saying like, oh, the wall is raised. Now the fucking, everybody thinks there needs to be a wall. Even the mayor of New York City is now calling to stop immigration into his city. And this was the guy that called it for it to be a sanctuary state. When the reality of what your policies, what kind of actions you put forth, what the results of that are, and those results are highly negative, you're forced to sort of recollect your thoughts and come up with a new perspective. And that's what the mayor of New York City is doing right now. When you just look at what Trump's policies were, and then obviously COVID hits, there's a lot to that, the lockdowns, the economic collapse, all the shit that came with that. None of that is good. And then Trump holds up this like hope to bring us back to where we were when he was in office. You're not going to beat that. I don't think they're going to beat that. I don't think when you look at the Russia collusion, when you look at the Steele dossier, when you look at all the bullshit they tried to throw at him that we now know is bullshit, not just bullshit, but coordinated bullshit. When you look at the fact that they suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story and that 51 intelligence agency representatives signed off on that to say that this was Russian disinformation, which they know is not true. That's scary because now you have the intelligence agencies colluding to keep a guy from being president that was president during a time where the country was thriving economically. You're not going to beat that guy.
Would he get your vote?
He'd get my vote before, he'd get my vote before Biden. I said that before. I don't think that, I never thought that Biden was going to make it. I never thought that he was going to be functional. You know, like regardless of what kind of power the president actually has. And it appears under Trump, the president has a lot more power than we think they do. But under Biden, it's like he's handled. Like he's just out there talking and say, the real problem is Donald Trump. Donald Trump, what he's done is terrible. He did in the office. It's all nonsense. It's like everyone's treating him with kid gloves because they don't want to prop up Trump. They don't want to go after him because it'll weaken the Democratic Party.
So when are you having Trump on?
I don't know.
Okay. The look,
I don't know. Maybe.
Looks like you got something.
Maybe.
Okay, good. That's good. I think that's.
Look, at a certain point in time, it's just like it would be interesting to hear his perspective on a lot of things. I would like to know what is it like when you actually get into office. I would like to know things like what is it like versus perception.
Yeah.
So I find it kind of wild that YG, the original F Donald Trump rapper, he said folks in the hood, they're going to lean towards Donald Trump in 2024, feeling that the Biden economy pinch is really the reason. But here's a twist. You know, we've seen this movie before, and I don't know why. Let me know in the comments if you can figure it out, or if you are one, please help me out here. But a lot of African-American voters, they just can't seem to break free of voting for Democrats, no matter what happens. I don't understand that. You know, I have no idea why. But Joe Rogan comments on this, and, you know, I hear it when Joe Rogan comments on things like this, because like I said, he's pretty emblematic, I think, of what a swing voter is. Someone who can be swayed by just facts and logic, if those people still exist. And, you know, Rogan's hesitant about fully backing Trump, and I can understand that. But he does recognize at least the merits of the Trump era economy, the reduced crime rates, the stronger international reputation before the adults came into the room. Let's be real, man. Numbers don't lie. You know, when you're looking at polls or scrolling through social media, there's a genuine feeling, a real feeling that things were more stable in pretty much every measurable way under Donald Trump. You know, especially on the economy front. I mean, a ton of folks, they place the economy above basically every other hot button issue. You know, maybe not single liberal women, I guess. You know, they made their impact felt in the midterms for sure, prioritizing abortion over economic factors. But really, you know, that was just left-wing marketing ploy. You know, I'm not sure that same thing is going to happen, that it will have the same effect the second time around. I can't imagine that it will. But looking ahead to 2024, the economy is going to be the real test. And the stats, they are not looking great right now. They need an insane turnaround to even look acceptable. Americans, they're not we're shelling out $709 more every month compared to 2 years ago, thanks to inflation. And according to Moody's Analytics, that's the number, 709. But, there's a silver lining here. Prices, for some items like used cars, airline tickets, they're dropping, but they're still high in, relation to what they were a couple of years ago. But, inflation remains way beyond the Federal Reserve's target, even after several rate hikes, which is scary. Not much more room to play. And I hope it's not the case, but things will probably get even bumpier as we get closer to the election. And honestly, Bidenomics, it doesn't feel like a winning ticket right now. It does not feel really like anything other than a really silly word. But regular folks, they aren't feeling great about their wallets. And Trump, prior to the COVID, his economic record, it could be a massive pull factor for people in 2024. There are the wild cards like single liberal women, prioritizing abortion rights or whatever other single issue voters they can come up with to rally their troops. But anyway, that's just my take, guys. Let me know yours in the comments. And please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. We'll see you in the next one.